Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with another knitting podcast. This is probably going to be the last knitting podcast of this year, which is just crazy. I think 2024 really flew by. I don't know how the year was for you, but for me it was actually a pretty good year. The start was a little bit rough, but then as it went on, it just got better and better, at least for me personally. In my professional life, I feel like I've gotten a lot of opportunities and it was a really great year for me. And also the year that I started designing and selling knitting patterns, so I will always remember the year because of that. In today's video I will be talking about everything that I've knit and sewn basically in the past, I think 1 month-ish, because I did do a couple of videos with Craftmas, which was where I was just vlogging and doing a lot of crafty things. Sadly I'm not doing the series anymore because it was taking a big toll on my life. It just took a lot of energy, and then also I did film a video for today and then the whole video was very blurry, etc. So I just decided to not post it and I'm doing this video instead, and I really hope that you enjoy it. So let's just get started with the first finished objects. The first one is actually one that I'm wearing. This is my new design. This is the Lovette Sweater. This is currently in test knitting and it will be released, I think, beginning of February, which is really exciting. As you can see, it's a circular colorwork yoke. And it's knit on 4mm needles, although the colorwork is knit on 4.5mm needles. The yarn that I used was kindly gifted to me by Scheepjes. This is one of their new yarns. It's Scheepjes Woolwise, which is a recycled merino wool. And it actually comes in 60 colors, which is really amazing. So the main color that I use, I believe, is called cacao husk. And it's a really pretty, like, chocolatey brown. And then the colors that I used for the yoke, I think the red is ruby red. And then this, I don't know, it's just one of the pinks, but I will definitely link that in the description with the exact color numbers. And then the colorwork yoke, as you can kind of maybe tell already, is actually inspired by Valentine's Day and also the Christmas holiday season. So it does have these little hearts, flowers, and also kind of XOXO written here, but I feel like it's a little bit subtle. And it kind of also just looks like, you know, like a geometric pattern. So I really love this sweater. It was definitely a little bit of a hassle to grade, because I went for quite an interesting sleeve construction where there are a lot of increases right here at the top, and then it kind of flares out to be decreased here again. And it does have a lot of rolled hem details, so it has it here on the neck and then also on the hem of the sweater and on the cuffs, which I do think is a really nice detail. So this was the decrease section I was talking about. So it was mostly this on top here that was just very difficult to grade, because you don't want to have a big or like a huge yoke because of the increases that you added to the sleeves, but then the sleeve opening still needs to be large enough for your arms to fit in comfortably. So it was a little bit difficult, but my tech editor Marie-Eve, she's always very amazing and she was very supportive throughout all of this, and definitely a big contender or reason why this was even possible for me to make. So I'm very happy that this was finished. And then the next thing that I actually finished was a pair of stockings. So these stockings are called the Snow Season stockings. This is my own pattern and it's actually available for free on Ravelry. I think I released this in the beginning of December, and I really like this folded big ribbed cuff that it has. And I embroidered my boyfriend's initial on it and added just this little velvet ribbon and a nice bow. And then it's all over cabled and moss stitch, which is just really nice with some bubbles. And then this is a German short row heel, which was also my first time knitting something like that. And then just a regular decreased toe. This I knit on, I think, 5mm needles, was it? I'm not sure. I don't remember what needle size I used for this. But I do remember that I knit this with drops Lima held together with drops Flora to kind of create an Aran weight yarn, because I just didn't have any Aran weight yarn in my stash. So I decided to do this instead, and it worked out really quickly because of that. So I really like this pattern. And then the final thing that I finished are a pair of mittens. So these are actually my first real pair of mittens that I've made. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. It's called The Basic Mitten for Beginners by Jackie Henderson. I think there's also a full YouTube tutorial on how to knit these, which I didn't follow. I thought the pattern was very clear. And then I added a little I-cord bow, which is just cast on, I think, 3 stitches on 3.5mm needles, knitted to be 43 centimeters long, knotted into a bow and sew it on top. Like, that's really all there is to it. But it just created such a cute little mitten, and I'm very happy with these. So they look like this when you're wearing them, and they fit very comfortably. And I really wanted a mitten pattern where your thumb is actually on top of the rest of your fingers, because I just think that's the most natural shape of the hand. So they fit very nice. And the yarn that I used for this was also kindly gifted to me. This is a new to me brand, so I was very happy that they reached out to me to offer me some of their yarns to try out. So this is Nakyarn yarn, and this is the yarn that is called Bliss, which is a very soft and unique yarn because it's mostly polyester and nylon, but then there's also a small content of wool and cashmere in there, and it's around a sport or light DK weight yarn. So this was super soft, probably one of the softest yarns that I've ever knit with. And then I decided to hold it double, and then the mittens are knit on 4mm needles, so with an Aran weight yarn, and the fabric is really nice actually. I do have like slight fuzziness on the mittens, and I have worn these a couple of times, so you might be able to tell here that there's some fuzziness. But still, I do think this is really nice. And I would definitely use this yarn again, especially for like winter accessories. I just think it's very soft and really nice for that purpose. So speaking of winter accessories, I do have my first whip in the same yarn actually, which is a Balaclava design. I have not really worked on this since casting it on, because I have other designs that kind of take priority right now, so they have a deadline that is sooner than this one basically. So this one is going to be released later in the year of 2025. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like. But this one has a really cute vintage inspired stitch pattern with like, I don't know, like a diamond pearl texture with lace in between. Then on the front it has a I-cord that is knitted as you go along with some garter stitch details and a nice cable. So this is going to be really nice when it's finished, I think. And I would love to keep working on it, but I just have a lot of other whips, like I said, that need to be finished basically now. Like right now I need another pair of hands and somebody to help me, because yeah, I have set myself up really well. So now we're talking about designs anyways, I will just show you the one that I'm working on, and that has basically a crazy deadline. I had the idea to suddenly knit a cord. So I'm knitting a cardigan with a matching skirt as a design, and then I moved some things around for my plans of 2025. So this is set to release, well, pretty soon in the year, which means that I need to have the full set finished by the end of this month. And there's still like 15 days left. So that is a crazy deadline. And I did swatch for this design because I cast on like another design before this, and it was going very bad because I was just wanting like too many things in the design. So I was trying to do a compound raglan together with German short rows and a bunch of cables, bubbles and other stitches, and it was just not working out. So I'm doing something different, and I will just show you my little swatch. So this is knit on 5mm needles, and this is 2 strands of drop snort held together with the drop skid silk in the color, I think, I don't remember now, caramel. It's the color caramel. Sorry, I just had like a brain fog moment. So I'm doing seed stitch with a small cable, a bigger cable and some slip stitches. And I have started on the skirt because right now I just want to knit in a round for some reason. So this is how far I am with the skirt. And I'm actually super happy with how this is currently looking. I also think this is such a gorgeous color. It's a very warm, like caramelly brown color. And I really like it. So I did a folded waistband that already has the elastic inside, so it's nice and stretchy. And then with a little picot edge. Then here we have some seed stitch and then that cabled motif that I was talking about. And now I'm just working on the increases to make it a really nice A-line shape. This is also a quite extensive pattern because I always have 10 sizes for all of my knitting patterns. So they go from a size extra extra small to a 5XL. But since this is a skirt, I really wanted to fit everyone properly. So in addition to the 10 sizes, I also have 3 hip sizes for each size, which basically means that there are 30 sizes technically. And so it's a little bit of a grading mess, but so far so good. And I did already do most of the grading. It's just the pattern writing that I actually still have to do. And I also keep thinking about what I'm going to do once I've reached like the ending point of this skirt. Like, I don't know if this will look good with like a tiny bit of 1x1 ribbing on the end, or an I-cord, or just nothing. I don't know. Like, what is a nice finishing touch for a skirt? I have not made up my mind yet, but if you have any ideas, do let me know and they will be appreciated. This is the yarn just in a little bit more detail. So the drop snort is actually a sport weight yarn. And then we have the drop skid silk, which is very fluffy. So the fabric that this is creating together is extremely fluffy, but very nice. So I'm really loving where this is going so far. Then we have another cast on, which you have not seen before. I basically started this because I was thinking that this was going to be my advent project, because I do have a yarn advent, which I showed a little bit in my Craftmas episodes, which is standing right here. It's the Walnut Verve Advent in the colorway Kimono, which is just a very rainbow, colorful fade, and it's very beautiful. We're slowly fading from pink to purples and I absolutely adore it. So I was thinking of knitting it into the Anemone sweater by Knitting for Olive. And I got the yarn and everything, which is a beautiful Drops Fiesta, which is one of their newest yarns. It's a superwash treated sock wool, but it's a DK weight sock yarn, which I think is very interesting. So this I think is the colorway beige, and I do really love that this is my main color. This is also one of the projects that was already in my Make 9, so it really feels good to tackle it now. And I've basically finished the ribbing. I am sizing up for this pattern. I think usually I would knit an extra small in this pattern, and I do have an extra small, but this time I'm knitting the size small because I just want to have a lot of positive ease since it's a drop shoulder. Suddenly I changed my mind because the fade of the Advent is just so beautiful that I kind of feel bad for breaking it up. But luckily, since it was in my Make 9, I do have all of the yarns and of course a bunch of other yarns because I have a huge yarn stash. So this is still going to happen, but since I have these crazy deadlines for design, sadly I cannot work on this right now. So I do have the ribbing done. I would love to get started on the color work, but I just can't justify working on it. So I think it will be a while, sadly, until you see this project again. Definitely need to focus on finishing these designs right now. And then I do actually have one more active work in progress, which is a really fun bag. So this is actually in collaboration with Hooks and Needles. This video is not sponsored, but they did send me a box, actually 2 of them. So this is box number 1, and it comes with everything that you need. So it has 3 balls of yarn, which I think are just like a superwash merino type of yarn. So I'm starting with this orange color, and then the bag is really fun because it's just 3 big garter squares that you then sew together and attach handles to, which I thought was just such a fun and mindless project. So I am just working away on this. Like if I need to go somewhere and I need like something super simple to knit on, then this is what I'm working on. Also because it's kind of small, you know, it's not like I'm knitting a super long scarf or anything. So I'm also using the metal needles that it comes with. I always use wooden needles, so these definitely make a lot of sound, but it's fine. So I am enjoying that. Definitely not a priority at all, but like I said, just something mindless to work on. I don't always want to knit on my own design, so this is just something that I can always work on. I don't need to think about it. Then there's actually one more thing that I would love to knit for Christmas, which yeah, is a little bit crazy because I just have so many other things going on. But Drops Design actually has a Christmas calendar going on over on their website. So they are releasing a new Christmassy pattern every single day. And one of the patterns that they released was a really beautiful hair bow. And I just can't get it out of my mind, and I would love to knit it in this Drops Fabel that I already had in my stash for a pair of socks, which definitely would still be beautiful, like to knit a pair of socks with this. I would happily knit the Pointelle socks by Marie-Eve or in her Skein, because I just love that pattern. It's absolutely gorgeous, but as you know, I'm not a big sock knitter, so I don't know if that's going to happen. But I think if I knit a hair bow with this yarn, I definitely will still have enough yarn left for the socks, because I have not huge feet, like pretty average feet. So I think I'm okay with yardage as far as that goes. So basically, yeah, would like to knit a little hair bow. I think that will be a really fun accessory for Christmas. Then finally, I do have 3 sewing finished objects to show you as well. So I'm just grabbing the first one. The first one that I have made is the Eleonora dress by Silver Saga Patterns. This is actually my 3rd version of this pattern because I absolutely adore this pattern. So I made it in this really fun viscose fabric in this leopard print, which I really love. Then I did make a couple of adjustments. Firstly, I lengthened the sleeves by I think like 27 centimeters, and then I added all of these little sections to kind of make it into a bubble sleeves, which is really fun. And then I also added more shirring to the waist, so it really cinches in. And then I added the tie and yeah, on both places. I did want to do it with a buttonhole this time, so it's actually adjustable. But for some reason that didn't work out, so it's just sewn on top right now. So they are not actually functional, which is fine and how I made my previous versions as well. So this is super stretchy because it's just elastic. And so this is very comfortable. And then I made it in a mini length version. And this is just such a fun dress. And I'm very happy that I made this. I think I used like 2.5 meters of this viscose fabric, so it wasn't a very expensive project either. And I made it in a size 34. Then the next thing that I made was a pair of ruffle brancette pants, which is also my 3rd or 4th time making this pattern. So these are definitely some of my go-to sewing patterns. And I made this pair in a very beautiful cotton satin in this beautiful green color. And then of course the party is at the hem, because you have this beautiful ruffle, and that just makes me very happy. I definitely still want to make another version of this, because I think this would be a great set of pajamas. Maybe I should do that, because I have like a plaid cotton fabric and this would work very well. Or I can get some flannel for my work. That would also be nice. Because I am still looking for a pair of Christmassy pajamas, or just winter pajamas in general. And I think this pattern is so comfortable. It definitely does justice to the name ruffle brunch set, because this would be perfect for brunch and just stuffing your face during Christmas time. If you're looking for a pattern, highly recommend. Still have not yet made the top that comes with it, but it is very beautiful and I'm excited to try it as well. And then the final sewing object is kind of a fail, but kind of not really. I have mixed feelings about this one. So this is a little pinafore dress that I self-drafted, which was not a good decision. I should have just used the pattern, because I'm just a little bit rusty, I think. It's been a while since I drafted a pattern. So what is wrong with this is that it's basically a little bit too wide around here at the bust. So it's kind of like a square like this. It's not very, not the best fit. And then what makes it so awkward is that this part of the pinafore, so this part, is too narrow. So it's just not, it's not the best. But it still works with a cardigan on top of it. And I do like it with like a turtleneck underneath and then a cardigan on top. It's probably how I usually layer things anyways, because I'm always cold. And I do really love the little embroidery stitches that I did. I was just playing around with my sewing machine. So it has this beautiful like scalloped sewing. And then also just some fun things on the pocket, which I think definitely makes it look like this dress belongs to a toddler, especially with that little bow in the center. But it's also kind of why I love it. You know, who doesn't want to dress up like a toddler? It's very comfortable, because it's just big, flared and wide, and so it's not the best thing that I've ever made. It's not the worst thing either. It's wearable, but I also feel a little bit self-conscious in it. Like, are people going to see that I made this because of how weird it is? That's kind of how I feel when wearing it, you know? Then the final thing that I usually talk about in my knitting podcast are books that I've read. And to be honest, I have not read or finished a single book since my last knitting podcast, which is a little bit crazy, because some of these podcast episodes I have finished like 4 books in 3 weeks. But this time around there has not really been a lot of reading. And I am reading a book right now, but it's called Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison, which is the first book in a series of I think 4. And I'm really enjoying that book so far. I'm around 50% of the way. So that is the only thing that I'm currently reading. And it's a Christmassy book. So if you're looking for just a fun and festive read, I would really recommend, unless something terribly goes wrong around the end, I don't know, like a third act breakup or something like that, then maybe I wouldn't recommend it as much. But so far, so good. So I'm really enjoying that. Then I don't really have a lot of future plans knitting wise. Only the little hair bow, and then I would love to knit something, of course, with my advent. So I am looking at a lot of shawl patterns right now, and my pattern, or like my advent, did come with a pattern, but I'm not sure if I want to use that one. And then I also just saw a very nice pattern that is actually a mystery shawl knit along, and it's just called the Advent Mystery Shawl Cal 2024 by Renee Strout. And I think a lot of people are doing this because there are 126 projects on Ravelry, so you may already know it. And I did look at some pictures and I really liked what I saw. And I will not say anything about what it looked like, but I do think maybe I'm going to join this. Of course, I would be way behind, but like I do think the finished object is kind of what I'm looking for my advent personally. It's not really meant for a fade, and that is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm not sure if I really want to fade my advent. I think I want to make it more, like mix it around a little bit. I'm not entirely sure yet. To be honest, I took a sneak peek at day 24 because I was getting so much pink in my advent. I wasn't sure if we were going to get any other color any day. So I took a peek and it was a very bright color, which I will not say what it was. So I am a little bit worried about how I'm going to implement that color because it's not really something that I would wear. It's a very bold color for me personally. So that is all that I will say about that. So if you do have any ideas of like an amazing shawl pattern that you think that I would like, please do let me know in the comments and maybe I might knit that one. For now, I wish you all a very happy day, happy knitting. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and like this video and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!